Hey Mona, we are live once
All right.
again, and we're getting down to the final shows.
Yeah. Two more, I
I
think.
mean, we are already at episode. What number is this?
41.
Yeah, we're going to hit 50. 50 is going to be one of our sort of
We're gonna do a
milestones.
celebration. Yeah, we're gonna
We
do a
will.
celebration.
Yeah, so before we jump in tonight's show, let me be clear, audience, what this is and what this is not. This isn't about personalities. I just do not want you guys to get into we're talking about people because we're not. It's about performance. In 2025, Tampa City Council made decisions that shaped public space, policing, redevelopment, and trust, especially in Black communities and East Tampa. Some of those decisions delivered real progress. Others raised some serious questions. With multiple council seats up for reelection, we believe it's reasonable for us to pause, to look back, and to ask what actually happened this year. Accountability doesn't start during campaign season, folks. It starts with memory. So tonight we're going down memory lane, and tonight we're reviewing that record. We're going to do it clearly, fairly, and honestly. So we're going to need you to stay with us as we go into the countdown, and then we're going to bring on some guests.
To the Black Independent, where we speak truth to power, unapologetically.
For too long, the black vote has been treated like a given, but we're not property. We're not pawns. We are the descendants of those who built this nation. And now, we're demanding tangibles, not tokenism, because the era of blind loyalty is over. This is the Black Independent. Let's get to work.
Wow. Hey, Mona, how are you?
I'm doing lovely for a Sunday. Happy holidays. And Jeanette, let me say,
Mhm.
before we get started, move a little to your left. I love your tree. It makes the
You-
whole room.
Any, is this right?
Oh
You
yeah,
want me
that's beautiful.
to
It is.
direction?
It is
Ah,
beautiful.
yeah.
How
I'm pretty
many strains
excited
of
about
lights?
it. Huh?
How many strains of lights do you have on it?
I don't know, maybe 8, 7 or 8. And
Yeah.
then I usually have more, but we did downsize the tree a couple years ago. So I have a couple of strands also around the TV. You can't see it from here on the other side. There's a garland in front of the television. You
Hmm.
know, we are reframing Christmas, yes.
Yes. Yes.
Um, but I'm saying to Black folks, make Christmas what you want to make
What
it.
you want? It's
Don't
still
follow the commercialized way, but make it what you want. So I'm having family over tomorrow night. All my brothers and sisters, plus
okay.
two, each bring plus two. And we're gonna do some painting and sipping and enjoying my mom and giving her gifts. So we're gonna
Oh,
focus on her
oh,
tomorrow.
very nice. Yeah, this is my favorite time of the year. And although I don't have a tree, but I did do a little bit outdoors, lights coming down my stairs,
Hmm,
and
nice.
and the poinsettias downstairs. So it's still very holiday.
That's
And
very
I'm gonna do my Kwanzaa buffet on the probably Christmas night or day after.
We are going to celebrate Kwanzaa this year as well. I'm going to talk about it with my family, but
Mhm.
definitely this household will do that. But
Yes.
folks out there in the audience, especially African Americans, Black folk, um, we have to begin reframing how we do things in America. As
Sure.
America shifts, So should we, and we don't have to give up everything. We just have to make it ours. But
Absolutely.
tonight's show is, as I mentioned in the teaser, a review. Plain and simple, folks. We're taking a clear look at what Tampa City Council did in 2025. What moved forward, what stalled, and how those decisions impacted the Black Tampa, especially East Tampa. This is about performance. Every council member had the same year, the same responsibilities, and same opportunities to govern. Some went the extra mile, some did not. And some decisions, or the absence of decisions, I need y'all to pay attention, had real consequences for communities that are already carrying more than their share. With multiple city council seats up for re-election. Now, hear that clear, folks. All of them, if just about all of them, are going to be up for re-election in 2026. It's reasonable for us to pause and assess the record before moving forward, as if everything deserves a clean slate. Accountability doesn't begin during campaign season. It begins with memory. So we're going down memory lane tonight. Tonight, we're joined by three great guests who follow city council closely. That's not me, but we are, I'm telling you, in this city, Black folks, you are lucky to have these three individuals that are holding council accountable for us. They attend meetings, they track votes, and they understand how policy decisions play out beyond City Hall.
And Jeanette, I think that's the most important thing. A lot of people, they read the policy. They understand it.
I know.
They don't go along. We have a lot of people at City Council just go along with whatever the establishment told them when they already know that the establishment aren't looking out for our best interest. And that isn't something we're just saying. That is evidence of how our communities look and the resources that we have received or the like of.
Yes, yes. And these are three, but I want to say right here, there are more than three. There's a group that on a Thursday morning, you could bet they're going to be sitting in those seats. And sometimes when I'm listening, I just look at that front row, that first few rows. There are folks out there who are going to be there to hold City Hall accountable. So tonight, that's what we're trying to do. This conversation is about reviewing the year honestly and letting the record speak for itself.
All right, we're gonna bring our guests up.
Yep. So before we get started, we want to acknowledge Allison Hewitt, who was recently named as an alternate on a city review board on actually the charter, City of Tampa Charter Review Board. I think that's it. I'm wrong. Congratulations to you, Allison. We'll give you a moment to share what that role is, but we also have Darryl Hych. And I feel so honored to have met him in the last year, I would say. I kind of see him on Facebook, but Darryl is tapped in, and I know he's not from here originally and has only been here, I don't know, maybe a few years. He can talk to us about that. But he is both feet on the ground and is really moving and shaking. And our beloved, I'm hoping she can get through, and we have figured out how to make that happen. Connie Burton, y'all. I haven't talked to Connie in such a long time, but yes, Connie, I follow your every move. And so she's here tonight as well. And so we're excited to have three powerhouses tonight.
No, we're glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ooh, I heard Connie. Yes. And Darryl, can we bring Darryl up as well?
Yep.
All right, and definitely Darryl. Darryl is between. I'm surprised that you are even here, Darryl. Thank you so much for jumping in. I think we're going to try to get to you first so that you can attend to your daughter, because we do believe that's also important. But first, Allison,
Yes.
the Charter Review Board, tell us a little bit about that, because you are also, I didn't say, a former candidate for Tampa City Council in that special election that we just held.
Thank you, and thank you for your platform here to give this voice to independents and people who can have a safe place to share different ideas. So thank you for that. But I am thrilled and honored to have been selected as an alternate for the City Tampa Charter Review. I am. They was selected on Thursday. And every 10 years or so, there is a review of all the ordinance that run the city to see which one is working, which one's not working, which maybe should be changed, a different thought process. And then we have to take it to the vote of the citizens. So it's not just we are saying these things need to change and we're going to change it with the city council, but we will present to the city council that we have talked, as a committee, we have looked at what has happened over the last few years. We're looking at where the city of Tampa will be going, and how do we have equitable laws and ordinances to help govern. So I am absolutely excited to be part of the conversation. I know there are folks who say only an alternate, but just about every alternate in the last few committees have been brought forward, because it is going to be a very strenuous meeting from January to we have to have our presentations to City Council by June. So that's the entire charter. I mean, that is everything. I actually just downloaded sections 1 through 4 to start going through it. With the eye of, quite honestly, District 5, East Tampa, equitable distribution, to potentially see if there's some things we can do to mitigate gentrification, because we want people to move here. We do, but we don't want to displace the people who live here. So I am going to be taking a serious look at, can there be ordinance in place to be able to protect the people who live here and their rights? So it's going to be extremely explosive, I believe, because we have some real heavy hitters on this board. We have a former bar president, Tampa Bar, Hillsborough County Bar presidents. We have just CEOs of multi-million-dollar companies, development companies, and it is. I'm going to say, stay tuned, because part of what I would like to also bring is when there are things, because not everyone has a time, because these meetings will be like 3 or 4 hours long, and not everyone in the community will be able to go there. And I am to try to find a platform to make sure that I'm getting input, and we're talking about this to the different various interest groups. But this is going to set the stage of what the laws that govern the Tampa for the next 10 years.
Wow.
So let me say, Jeanette, this is why it's very important when we're looking at our council people who really have our best interest at heart, because we need someone like Allison. Now the Ashley
Morrow.
So she's a great candidate, great pick as well. So she's on the committee. But we need people who are going to be looking out, because all of those other people are looking out for their community interests.
Yeah, so I think I agree with you. And I think both Ashley and Allison, the AA group,
yes,
good choice, and I trust both will be great stewards for us and
They're gonna
hold.
be, both of them are researchers, because I love when Ashley come down on Thursday and learning a lot from her history. So
Yeah,
we
I
already
saw.
know she's into detail.
She
She
really
does the
is.
research. We already
Okay.
know Allison does the research. So this pick for District 5, I think, is good.
Yeah,
Well, Allison, you, and we look forward to, hell, I never knew anything too much about the Citizen Review Board. So now we could stay, and we probably need to get involved and familiarized with all of these committees and what they do.
yes.
Because somewhere we are liking, somewhere somebody is dropping the ball for
Yes.
District 5.
So for both you and Ashley, iron sharpens iron, and I think
Yeah.
we are lucky. So, to the audience, you might hear a little bit of a feedback, and it's because we have Connie. We decided we needed Connie on tonight, so she is on the phone. So to the extent that you do hear some feedback, that is the reason, and we hear it as well, but we think it's worth it at this point. So I give it to you. I give it to you, Mona, to get us going.
One of our reviews is Resolution 568. And it is just one example we're going to discuss tonight. Not the entire review, but it matters because it shows how equity centers issues move through City Council.
Okay.
The resolution was introduced, community pressure, I believe, pushed it forward. I'm putting in quotes, Connie Burton, and then it stalled after the political climate shift. And without a clear alternative path, and that is where I have a problem. And I like what Darryl, how he's been narrating that and showing and telling City Council, but particularly the community, if they really want this to go forward, how it could. Darryl, what would you say about 568?
Thanks a lot, first of all, guys, for allowing me to be on the show again this evening. I'm always honored to be a part of your show, and I find favor. I'm appreciative that you guys have found favor in even hearing from me. As Jeanette said, I'm not from.
We value you, my brother.
Thank you. I'm honored to be valued in such a place. But, interestingly enough, I'll walk this thing backwards. I will walk it back from the dynamics of when they said they could no longer do the reconciliation committee based upon the president's executive order. And Allison and I was on the phone one night once that happened, immediately after that happened. And we were on the phone for probably 2 hours, and then we both had an aha moment. Our aha moment was, okay, rightfully or not rightfully so, the executive order said we could no longer do this thing. But then we came quickly to realize that State Statute 163, Chapter 3.356 of the CRA tells them, which is another law, which is a federal law, that tells them that they are supposed to heal the slum and blight in communities. And because of that particular law, which is in place by the federal government, because of that law, it heals both ills. It heals the problem that's in Black communities if you perform it and if you utilize it the way that it's written. And I after Allison and I went through and dissected it, I used ChatGPT, and I said, ChatGPT, is resolution number 568 and state statute 163 tag 356, are they synonymous? And it said yes. And I'm thinking, okay, you can get rid of 568, and all you have to do is follow the law to the T on what the state statute says, and you will heal both ills. And then I come to conclude the only reason you would not do that is it must be personal or there's another agenda that's at play. And that's the only way I can look at it. Because of the federal law says you are supposed to do this under the state statute.
Right.
Yeah, that was my conclusion when I heard it. And I said, look, on that board, we have some attorneys, smart individuals. We have city attorneys. If they want it done, if they want to make this right, it could be done. And the city council could pressure and show the mayor, because maybe they'll say it's the mayor, but if they wanted this done, it would be done. Connie, what do you say about 568?
Well, 568 would give us an opportunity and give them an opportunity to address past regressions.
Mm-hmm.
It was something that had been formulated, written by the council. It was not something that the community, even though it felt that way, it had not been included and written by the community. And so it would have been an easy way for them, if they were sincere, to start addressing the issues that's plaguing our community and things they hear repeatedly every meeting. And so when I this was not as, because it had been an ongoing pattern of practice throughout this nation, that when white folk become knowledgeable, courageous, defiant, have a will to stand up against the power structure, then they find ways in which they simply cannot do it based on laws that were created.
It's going to be difficult. Facebook, YouTube. So press in to hear, because she is one of the main voices we wanted to hear tonight.
Absolutely.
But do you guys think that Resolution 568 come from a genuine political commitment, or did we mainly put pressure to make Vieira move it forward?
I think it was mainly pressure, and I want to say this before it slipped my mind. What we talk about, one we don't have in the Black community, we don't have a lot of money, but the one thing we do have is our vote, and then with our vote, it would behoove us to put people in seated positions that look like us, that carry and have the same genuine concerns that we have the same suffering and understanding the sufferings that we have. And once we get into office, my position would be, and if Naya Young could hear me, my position would be, now that you've gotten there, you stuck your stake in the ground, do exactly like Donald Trump did. Get in there and change the agenda. I don't care if you went in there, ran on one ticket and you ultimately win. Once you got there, you realize that Tampa Heights is being gentrified. That's where your building is located. You know that the people who you said you were advocating for are suffering so bad. So my question and my statement would be, get in there and flip the script on all of them and do just like Donald Trump did. Get in there and make a difference for the people who look like you, who dress like you, who suffer like you, who've been through the many things that you have been through as a little girl as you was coming up, that you bore witness to. You don't have to stay with the same agenda. You can flip this thing, because you in there now. Be in there, kick the door open, and make everybody say, what the football just happened. That's what you do if you're looking forward to change, because damn it, he did the same thing when he got into office, and we keep trying to play by the rules versus rules are meant to be broken and the law are meant to remain the same. Break the rules and do different.
All right, so
and hopefully that's what we got. We said we wanted you, we wanted young, and I've been following her, so I think she's doing okay so far. So she's
okay, meaning she's being safe, that she's being
well, I think she has been
but
safe. She's
safe
building it
is
up.
not what Darryl is suggesting.
I know, and I think she will get there. And we know she only have a short period of time.
15. It's
right.
15 months.
So I would say for the first. What it's been? What a month now? November, a month.
Right. It's been a month. See, they try to make us think that we got to get in there and just get started. I would consider, if that was me, I would get in there day one. They'd be ready to kick me out of there because I'd be changing things. I'd be making suggestions and doing it because you're in there now.
Yeah.
And if you did this for if you did this for the next 15 months, the community will get behind you and say, no, we want her back in there, because we can't continue to wait for someone to do practice and figure it out. You already know the issues that we suffering.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
568 is 5.5 years behind the 8 ball that should have been done.
568 is a real big deal. Even on a national scale, when we talk about reparations, repair, whether it's by city, state by state, or federal, it's a really big deal because there's a lot of opposition for any kind of repair, even on a local level. It's one of the reasons I think that the city council was so quick to abandon that position after getting that executive order. But if you remember, LBJ, when he signed the Civil Rights Act, he is one of the was one of the biggest racists out there, but he's the one that signed that law in it. And he understood when he signed it that the Democrats were going to lose the South, because at that time we were largely Republicans and whatever else, but the Democrats were going to lose the South. He understood that. But why did he sign it in the first place? Because there was constant pressure from Black folks who were out there marching, sitting at town counters, and being, I guess, attacked with water hoses and dogs. And that was on television, their technology at the time. Pressure is what pushed him to sign it. Pressure is what it's going to take, visible pressure, for anything like 568 to move forward. Without the pressure, and I can tell you that pressure is not there. It is not there. You, Connie, who else? Allison speaks up.
Valerie Bullock.
Okay, the pressure is not there, but anything we have gotten in history was pressure from a distinct group of Black folks that pushed the politicians to move. They did not move on their own. She will not move without that pressure.
Yep. And one of the things I would like to say about the charter review, this is a time too to make sure we look at those ordinances that the 568 committee was looking at, to make sure if we need to have a conversation at these committees or have people come to the public comment at those committees to say this ordinance is not good for the Black people, the Black community. I mean, and this is every ordinance. This is for the police. This is for the biking while Black.
Yeah,
this is all the ordinances. So we need to make sure that we are communicating with our community, that if we can take some of the 568 principles to as we go to the charter.
Right.
Yes.
That's why I love that you and Ashley are on that community. I know both your personalities are right for this.
And Miss Connie has something to add.
Okay.
Let's go back to what Sister Jeanette said. The big 6 civil rights movements, that organizations that we had back in the 60s had the ability to win the confidence of the community. Well, the Big Six is not operating in that fashion now. And out of the Big Six, we might have two that's still standing and remaining. That's the NAACP and then the Urban League, which has now been replaced with organizations like Divine Nine, Black Elected Leadership, and then in some parts the church. And the question has to become, what has these organizations been willing to compromise on? Because they are doing some work in the community. But what we need to do requires them not to compromise and to move without fear. And as long as people have this element that they, organizational leadership, that they're going to lose something, there has been a refusal to get behind 568. I can't tell you how many doors I did knock, how many conversations I've tried to have with people that tell me simply it don't have no teeth. And I tell them, you know, a baby is born without teeth. But you keep nourishing that child, then we can get what we need, the type of teeth that will address blight in our community, the triple-digit unemployment, the despair, on and on and on. But it takes the courage of people that is willing to lose to win. And we just do not have that across the board right now. The community has lacked confidence in a lot of people in these so-called leadership posts. Naya won the election with less than 6,000 people participating. That should tell us all something, that we got this unused power. And so this unused power is not being utilized, because every time we elect somebody that we think is going to represent our interests, it is met with utter disappointment. Every Black candidate, since I've been participating since the late early 80s, has always had to go back to home plate. They don't have a workbook in which they have been centered enough to say, my predecessor was moving this agenda for the Black community, and this is where I'm going to keep pushing. Everybody has wanted to start with their own personal agenda. And so now we're facing to deal with this issue that young people feel like, well, they wasn't listened to, and they was able to galvanize their position. They was able to win an election. Naya is a very new person in this political circle, yet to be unknown, because I recognize she's in campaign mode right now. She's showing up, but her deliverables, Darryl say from day one, if I know I'm in the middle of the ocean and I need a life preserver, I'm not going to try to sit around and see who's going to mend the best for me. I'm going to grab hold to what I know is a sure thing. And the most surest thing the Black community have right now is 568. As long as the people that wrote that document is still visible, alive, we should hold them accountable, all the way on into their next political model, whatever they think they might want to do. That should be the win or the deathbed for them, that they did not produce for 568, and so there should be no reason why we would give it to them. There should be no reason that we back up and walk backwards in the political arms of a former mayor that had nothing but disdain for Black, common, working class people. And so the document, just like the Emancipation Proclamation, just like the Civil Rights Bill, this is our Civil Rights Bill of today, 568. And if you is, weak If you need to wait for Mr. Charlie to just come and tell you that he gonna give you everything you need before you decide to poke your head out the hole, and you just waiting to make sure that there's not gonna be no repercussion because you Black and you demanding justice, we ain't gonna get it like that. We have to be fearless. We have to be fearless, just like those before us that lost it all. Property, money, employment, and sometimes their lives for the better good of our, and we simply don't have that right now.
Well, all I can say to that, Jeanette, is amen. And we're going to move on to the next biggest thing that's happening right now.
Oh, man. Okay.
I just want to say wow to that. That's it. I just want to say wow. That's it.
Oh, man. That, what do you mean move on? But okay.
You know, look, when she speak, all we could do is.
Yes.
Yes.
Connie.
Guys, I know that you all know about the proposed bicycle and e-bike restriction around the Riverwalk and Bayshore, and it was framed as a safety issue, but for many in our community, especially young people, it raised concern about selective enforcement and over police of public space. Now, I always have an issue with the police interacting with our young people unnecessarily. And I wouldn't have had a real concern with this till that fentanyl epidemic happened. And when I started doing the research, and when I was hearing white politicians and white leaders saying, hey, we cannot destroy our young people's lives. But on the other hand, when Christ came out, it destroyed our life. And that always come back to play with me. So, and what stood out really quickly, because they just brought it forward, and the next thing was the law enforcement. We're going to fine them, penalties, police involvement before any meaningful engagement with the community. The first thing they wanted to do was fine them. Now I'm on the Riverwalk at least. We used to be on the Riverwalk at least twice a month after tea and conversations. We're always in Ybor City. Now, I myself have not seen any what they say that is happening down there, but I've talked to other people who say they have. So, Darryl or Allison, what
if I may, when you're about to do a proposed policy change, you want to make sure that you have impactful data. And data that is holistic in its presentation, not anecdotal, not the police are getting these complaints, but we set this time from this day to this day, and we're going to monitor and through that monitoring, because we understand that race is an issue, that is part of the monitoring process. How many, Black, Hispanic, old, young, homeless, or people who that's how they get around. But there was no clear parameters of the data that they put this policy on. And then even if it was safety that was happening to be right now, then who said, okay, then what is going to be the monitoring for the first 6 months to make sure, maintain, one, there's proper training. Because I think you might have seen, the new law about the license plate. There was someone who just had to spend the night in jail because they couldn't see the word state, because they haven't done the training. They haven't explained to law enforcement. And so they're already arresting Black people for the license plate.
We did a show on that, Jeanette.
I know we did, but believe it or not, I have not changed my plate, which does have the car dealership little surrounding, this is where this car comes from. I have not changed that yet, but you're telling me people are being arrested.
Oh yeah, it's been
on the news.
Yeah, it's been enforced right now. You remember when we had Representative Rayner and
Yes.
Chase attorney, and you know, we knew it was going to be coming up, and they're hitting the grounds running with it right now. And all of this stuff is about money, but we always trying to make our purpose here. One of our purpose here is always to make sure that the community stays safe and informed.
My challenge too is the safety for this community here is not the safety of the people who rely on bikes for their primary transportation. We do not have the most robust public transportation, so people are choosing bikes. The city is also investing tons of money into bike lanes. So unless, if you're going to propose this type of penalty, it should be along lines where the data needs to be maintained. There needs to be some precautions to make sure that it's not overused. There also needs to be a way to be able to come back and say, we're going to circle back around and look at this new data and see if we need to amend it, train it, or have additional training. But I didn't see any of that except for we're just going to try that. We're going to do this to make sure that people are safe on the Riverwalk.
Well, what is
Well,
that?
on this
Let me ask you this, because she said bike lanes. So November, the first week of November, my sister and I and some friends went down to the Riverwalk and we rented the e-bikes. Now, I'm not going to be on a bike lane. I think those are for people who do the cycling and who do this. But for recreation, we are going to do the Riverwalk. And then they were talking about speed, how fast one goes. Well, when I rented the e-bike, it didn't have a monitor telling me how fast I'm going. And so, yes, I was going pretty fast. But now that I'm 62, I know if a group of people coming to me to slow down.
She was going fast. She was doing wheelies, y'all.
I used to do it. I didn't see an issue, Jeanette. People were courteous. People say, beep, beep. You know, I didn't see an issue. And what are you going to do? You brought all these e-bikes down here, and those darn things go fast. And they're not going to be able to regulate that because too much money has been invested into these e-bikes. So where are you going to ride them at?
Yeah. So let's let if I can interject, because I'm pulling up here. Okay. What I found to be interesting in this whole thing was going back to what I said, us being in power and being elected and being in positions. There's a black guy that's bringing this forward. The black guy is that's bringing it forward and had the mitigated gall to try to defend his position on it, or defend the position on it this past Thursday. Thank God they shot it down.
Is he bringing it forward because his boss orders him to? Because I would have said,
I think he is his boss. He is his own boss.
He's his own boss?
Yeah. He brought it forward and then tried to defend it with the law enforcement officer to try to say that this is a problem. And then, just like what Allison stated, when they asked the law enforcement officer, do you have any statistical data to support this? Well, I'm sure if we go look back at our emails, we'll find the emails that may say what it do. But right now, no, we don't have anything. Again, the same black guy that was standing up there, you've lived the black experience, I believe. If you haven't done it in physics, I mean, in quality of life, you've most definitely done it in skin tone. So you know when the community, even white women were getting up there saying that this is going to hurt black kids. There were white women saying this, saying that this thing is going to hurt us. They had more of a concern and a more understanding of it than what he was ever trying to get an understanding of. Yeah. And I'm thinking, have we missed the mark? Have we gotten so far? We talked about the 60s. We've only gotten where we are today because of the handful of people who fought like hell in the 60s. And today we have the same handful of people. And if we took the same energy and we fought the proper way with the technology we have, with the advances we have, we could begin to win some of these battles. But these Negroes keep parking their cars in the garage and acting like their problem. I mean, our problems is not their problems.
Yeah, but Darryl, you know, in that last presidential election, some 20-some% of Black males voted against the Black interests. And I'm just going to say it that way. But you got to wonder how this debate shows how the city council actually approaches public space when it involves Black youth. And is that something we need to worry about or proactively begin approaching? Because if Black youth are involved and people are complaining about them, who's going to champion their position on whatever the issue is? In this case, biking while Black, I'm just going to say it that way. Is the city council
and the main thing that you said,
champion?
This is public.
Yeah, hold on. Ms. Connie has something real quick too.
Okay.
Just want to. We had a very small coalition of Black voices that when it was first proposed, because what we saw Thursday was the second reading to pass the ordinance.
Yes.
But from the first reading, we was able to slow it down because it was all ahead. The fact that, as Darryl pointed out, it was a Black person, a male that was there making this public safety request. But we know it becomes a more gentle way for white people to jump on board when the presentation is coming from a Black person.
Good point.
We're talking about public safety, knowing that out of this administration, the mayor is the former chief of police, and we know all about her public safety policies as it relates to the Black community. So from the very beginning, we went publicly, made our comments and said, no, we recognize this for what it is. We follow that up. The NAACP, Yvette Lewis, Darryl, Allison, myself, Matizna, we were very clear that we understood what would be the long-term repercussion if this thing did not get slowed down. They were talking about $75 fines. Lynn Hertech was able to be the voice of reasoning up on that board, because from the very first conversation when they were discussing it, you know, that they're getting all these complaints about all these gangs of young 14-year-olds that is at the Riverwalk and on Bay Shore and how frightened the people are. So those little kind of buzzword, kind of like assured me that it would not be a good policy for our community. We kept on working it in the community, in discussions, on Facebook. So the fact of the matter is this. If we allow these people, the administration, and others that don't see no usefulness in Black bodies, in Black lives, we've asked for 100 summer jobs. They came back with 32. I think now they're up to 48. They can't even come up to 100. When you're talking about a city that has over a $2 billion budget and still growing. That now the voices of white women, and we're appreciative of them, to come forward and say, hey, this gonna hurt Black youth, when Black people still sitting in the chamber talking about they still support the ordinance.
Yes.
And we just gonna have to do some serious shifting of, like you shift flour. Sometimes it look the same, but it's not the same.
Right.
People that say that they're with us be low key against us because they can see their interests tied to this. And so I'm glad it got shut down. It's going to move into workshops. We're going to have to be paying attention. We have to give ourselves our time to participate in these processes. You know, people like myself and others, you know, we come volunteering for the mission of our people to make sure that these type of rollback, these type of policies don't have adverse effect on us. So I am thankful that the council, those different white women came forward and say, hey, this is going to have an adverse effect on the Black community. You don't have no presentation on no data. The only time they have to do is come with the police, but not this time, because every one of them up there, as Jeanette mentioned, had further political aspiration. And so, ain't none of them, we ain't got no long-term friendship.
Yeah.
It is policy, everything is policy driven as it relates to the Black community moving forward. Thank you.
Yes. And Jeanette, I think
absolutely.
when I was listening to it the first time, and like I said, I'm hearing it in and out. But what I took was the council was willing. They didn't really want a debate or some type of workshop. They were willing to adopt the amendment. And only, I believe it was only Lynn Hertag who really pushed back against it. And I just assumed that the Black man worked for the city and maybe he was over that position. So, wow. Allison, do you know who he is and what do he do?
I do not. That is part of my list of things to do.
Okay,
What?
yeah, we have to find out. We got to find out who the brother are.
I'm wondering, is like,
What do you
who was the brother?
Connie, you know who he is?
Yeah,
I can't say his name right now, but he is a city employee and he's an attorney. He works for the city. He works in the legal department.
That's what I figured. Yeah, I figured that. Because I said
he works for the city of Tampa. He's an attorney.
Okay.
Yeah, because he just didn't bring this. They made him come be the face of it. I mean,
That's what I want to say. That's what I think.
I'm saying. Where, because Darryl said that he's his own boss. Because I know Maniscalco said that he was getting hundreds of calls. And, I'm not going to say whether he was or wasn't, but I know when we was in the, at work, we all said, bullshit. I don't believe you were getting hundreds of calls. Now, I'm sure that maybe they got some calls. I wasn't aware. Like I see, I'm down there. I wasn't aware that it was an issue. So, all right, we're going to move on. That was just one thing. And because it isn't, just all bad news that that has happened in our city under Orlando Goose. Let's talk about Fair Oaks. Let me find where I got Fair Oaks at.
Toward the end.
Yeah, I said. And look, it is also important to acknowledge a real accomplishment this year, the ribbon cutting of Fair Oaks. And that was last Monday. I didn't get a chance to go, which I wanted to go. It's just a beautiful building from the outside. Have you been inside yet, Jeanette?
I have not been out inside, but the pictures, the videos that I saw on Facebook, amazing.
Yes. So I think I'll go by there this week and take a tour. But
yes,
of course, that investment matters. East Tampa has waited a long time for meaningful improvement to public spaces and parks are not just cosmetic. We have to understand how it affects our health, safety, and youth engagement and neighborhood pride. And we have to give a huge, and I mean a huge, if we're going to be truthful and fair, to Councilman Orlando Goose.
Orlando Goods.
I heard he wasn't there, but I heard he was.
Yeah, he wasn't there. He was. The invitation was extended to him the day before, and he had already had a meeting scheduled with his granddaughter's teacher.
And this is just so unfair. This is what is so unfair, and we hope now you don't fall into this trap. And I really do, because we're going to be fighting. I don't know if Darryl or Connie said it. We have to continue the legacy of each person when they leave that seat instead of always starting over. You can put in your ideas, and you could also make sure that those plans have already, because the community isn't going to let it go. So Orlando Goose didn't get to see this finish but a lot of people like to think.
But he should have been recognized.
Yeah, yes, like to think Gwen Henderson, and I'm like, yes, she might have had a part. Well, this woman,
But it would not have happened without Orlando.
This woman didn't have anything to do with
kicked down the door.
Absolutely.
Down the door for this one to make sure it happened.
Yes,
the Black
he didn't
community
have anything to do with it. And some people like to say, if it wasn't for her, it wouldn't have gotten finished. Yes, it would have.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it would have, because it was the community. It was Orlando. Even the community forced Orlando to do it, because Orlando, this was not his first choice. I remember distinctly how all this came about.
Did you say community pressure?
Community pressure.
Because he wanted to do Street Park, and it was the NAACP, Connie Burton, Yvette Lewis came together, and we pressured him in it. I think it was Joe Robinson was a big part of it too.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, they called Michelle Patty to come in because she had the radio station, and she was hesitant about participating because there was a little beef there. And I remember talking to her and say, yes, we need you on board. Come on. That's how this got started.
Pressure. I love it.
Yeah.
Connie, you there still? Connie?
Yes, we are thankful for Fair Oaks, and like you said, it was a community effort. I mean, it was a meeting of the mind. You know, Orlando being our council political leader at the time, he had his ideas, the community had his ideas, and we found a way to come out with something good. But the removal of Orlando from council turned that into an economic disaster as it relates to African people being able to benefit from the $43 million that was spent to build that park.
Mm-hmm.
We have to tell the whole truth.
Yeah.
See, on the council, $90 is being one white and so, you know, the unfortunate passing of Gwen Henderson, somebody there to be a watchdog issues. Now that bit of money, not looking down, I know what for new artists.
Hold on, Connie. Hold on, Connie. You're breaking up.
The economic power.
Hold on for a minute.
Yeah, hold on, Miss Connie. You're going out for a second. Hold on.
Because she's giving some good information here. We want to hear it.
She is, but
okay. Now go, Connie.
Okay, so I was saying we lost economic power from them $40 million that they utilized to build that entity. I remember Toba came to try to pre-haste $50 million black folks, the participation percentage-wise, and we had a chorus of uninformed, led by black voices. I don't know if y'all call people name on your show, but Michelle Patty and others saying we just want to move forward. When just want to move the project forward. And so now black folks ended up with very little. This Thursday on the council, item number 18, a white artist is going to be paid $90,000 to paint a mirror inside the black community.
What?
Yes.
What is me? I'm like, what?
And this is the second time. This is the second time when they are trying to.
How is that possible?
How did they choose a white person who's only been doing this for think maybe over 2 or 3 years? Now getting $90,000 to do a mural.
Everybody just has to stop.
And here's what we're gonna have to hold on. Here's what we're gonna have to grade our
why is it? I'm not a mural. I gotta say this. Stop. Just give me a minute. Just give me a minute. Just soak it all in. I am not a
You're the
muralist.
first person I thought about when I heard that.
I am not a muralist,
Mm-hmm.
but there are Black muralists
A lot.
in the city of Tampa.
They know
And
that.
if they were not considered, then shame on whoever was
City
the
council.
decision maker behind that. Especially, you know, I don't know. I cannot believe what you just said.
When I first heard it, I said, listen, you already got $43 million. The majority of that money went to white contractors, white business. And if you were going to do a mural on a building that's in the heart of the Black community, I would have first looked for a Black artist. And then when I heard the price, $90,000.
How are they going to talk to the people?
Well, we're trying to do a mural over there at the Skills Center on 22nd, and we've been trying to raise the money for that for the last year.
Well, go to city council, because obviously somebody's giving them $90,000 to do this, and the art community.
The city of Tampa pretty much said no. Skills Center got too much money, and so the Black artist who's been waiting for a year needs to have this kind of opportunity.
So it's okay to be too much money to white people, because we only had 8%. They tried to get 14% of Black participation in Fair Oaks, but they were told the city councilwoman at the time, the contractor said, well, for this type of business, we only really do 8 to 10. But really 8, and so they went for it, because the community got threatened. If y'all stop this, they're going to stop the project. That's what they were told in the meeting.
Yeah,
we can run the
We're always afraid. They're always threatening us.
And you know damn well they weren't going to stop the project. They're not going to stop the project. Even if they do stop the project, then somebody else get it. Okay, but should we sell our soul? Should we sell our soul just because you make a Connie trying to say something?
It was the same way when they designed the Perry Harvey Park. That's not the design we wanted for the Perry Harvey Park, but that was the concept of what white people needed to build to make white people feel comfortable coming inside the community. And so, although Naya raised the issue of how the $90,000 was given to this one artist, in my opinion, it was not enough, because I would have said, redo contract, stop this contract. We cannot have $43 million. Percentage of that went to Black contractors, and now a whole $90,000 go. And that's the kind of courage that we need. So I plan on going back to council when we reconvene in January, bring it up, because all they want to do is bring forth the art council, night voices to talk about how they came to these conclusions, and they still the motion. And so that artist is going to get $90,000. He's a professor. He's already have some form of income, and split the $90,000 because we're going to redo the contract. That's shame on him. But nobody should be able to walk away out of this Black community when we have a high unemployment of Black folks, young entrepreneurs that want to get a piece of the pie, and we just say, oh, well, wait the next time. It ain't no next time, it's this time.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. So the mural that they're going to put on the wall, who decide on that design? Who decided on that design? Is that left up to the artist, or was that left up to the community? Because I don't ever recall
the architect.
No, I had to put this up. Wait, before you answer that, I had to put this up. So what you see right now, and I couldn't find the picture, but I did find it, is the picture of the mural that's going to go on the south wall at the Skills Center.
Oh,
and
that's
it's
beautiful.
called Unveiled Possibilities. And it connects all of Tampa right here in East Tampa. And you have, of course, the Black woman, the Black man, and in the middle you have this tree of life with all kinds of logos from various organizations that have impacted our day-to-day lives. We have been working for 1 year to get this mural up. We have worked through the city of Tampa. We have looked for money for this particular mural that is going to engage community in actually installing it. Everybody in the community is going to be invited to brush and to participate. And this should be a 4-month project. We have not yet got this off the ground.
And so why didn't they say the CRA money couldn't go there? Because they already got too much CRA money? When they just gave it to when they gave 3 million to a white man and another 1.2 to another white woman?
You're answering it. They told us no.
Outside of the East Tampa CRA, and you should ask the owners of the Skills Center, what financial contribution did the city give the Skills Center? What financial contribution did the city? Because Gwen Myers was just there for $250 for the Skills Center, and no, that didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So you should, the Skills Center out to see what they ever gotten from the city of Tampa. And the reason why that particular mural will not move Jeanette, in our opinion, not with the support or the help of the city, is because that's that want to show for Black people. It is all the negative of our community. Our people in handcuffs. Our young people do more than unsavory. The welfare Black mama. Somebody walking around on the back of their shoes. They don't want that image that will give mobility to feeling proud of your heritage. And so that's why it won't go. That's why we got Perry Harvey, the man, is not in front of the park center, but he's back there in the back somewhere, because never do this city, we have to confront this. They need to confront it. Never do they want to deal with the issue of Black culture, Black excellence, and Black brilliancy, because it says something about us, and that is the part that this white establishment have in this city.
Wow. It could also be that they're trying to put murals that will portray the future of East Tampa, where it might not be 70% Black. But we're going to have to push back against that. Allison, the woman who gave the presentation, who was she about the arts, who was telling City Council it was going to be 90,000? Who was this woman?
The CRA has a whole arts division now for Tampa.
So she was part of the CRA?
Not East Tampa. Yes.
Okay.
So Tampa CRA.
That's who you're going to have to reach out to, because it seemed like this was her decision.
What's her name? What's her name?
I don't know. You're gonna have to.
I'll send you. I'm gonna send you.
Because I have talked to several people, including Cedric and his people. So, what's their names? Because I have already had conversations with the various players in the city.
Then I will tell you. Start with Councilman Bill Carlson, because he is a champion of the arts. He has helped settle the art council that you came to one of the events I saw you. So, and I think Keela McCaskill is putting Robin Nye. Robin Nye, yeah. That
sounds very familiar. And Keela also suggests that I connect with Bill Carlson.
Yes, because he sees art as economic development. He sees artists as business people growing their business, but he also sees it as a very diverse group of folks. It's not all white people.
Right.
So I would start there with them, but this is just as much as I want to say yay Fair Oaks, it is so many things that happens in East Tampa, especially, that is not looked at as in the long term. It is just a one and done. But they don't understand that now that they have a $43 million park, all the other parks in East Tampa, I will bet you anything, unless we push, they will go by the wayside. They will not be repaired. They will not be kept up. They will say, you got all your park money. And that was one of the things that Orlando was fighting for at the beginning. Is like, let's not blow our wad, because we still have parks we need to take care of.
Yeah, back to
we have to make sure that this is not a norm, but an exception. That just because you did this one thing, that we're not going to get anything else. Because the truth of the matter, most of the parks in District 5 are in despair, and they all need some upkeep.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're going to definitely have to make sure that every year, this is what our city council woman will have to make sure that one of our parks, if not one or two parks in District 5 every year, is taken care of.
Yeah.
Because
exactly.
Have gone years
ourselves,
with nothing.
if we don't position ourselves as a government within a government, and by that I mean people that's dedicated, watch over the way the council is broken up to watch over certain committees, neighborhood enhancement, parks and recreation, police and fire, economic. We have to have that same type of dedication coming from the divine, and they have to be given assignments. The NAACP, the Urban League, they have to be given assignment. The Black Church has to be given assignment. Now, after giving the assignment, you refuse to do the work, then we have to inform the community that you was asked and you refuse to do the work. Because one or two people cannot do it. And we recognized that we only had a little bit of time. The budget had already been cut. Naya was not my person. Reverend Scott not my person. My person is who is on this line tonight, because I knew, and so through her work, her dedication, she would be paying attention. She would be about that it should be more inclusive of working class communities. And so we'll stop people in their field that if anything is said, I got children younger than Naya. I don't know what to do. Me, Curtin, is that I'm greater for the majority than if. And so we people to have energy. We might have the same level of enthusiasm, but we have to have energy for the preservation of our community and our people, because the clock is ticking. These people have plans on building a 5 world class hotel downtown. Darryl Hych is coming through, and he's building all he wants all up in Ybor City. And so the last peg of land that's right for development, if Bob Buckhorn come back into power and the mowing down of the Black community, you can see it by houses that's already been centered in our community. It don't matter if the house next door to it is only worth $30,000. They building $250,000 houses on Power 10, Columbus Drive, Gideon, all in the Black community. And there has been no pushback, because we do not have enough people that's standing on posts to make these demands heard. So my thing is, going into 2026, is to say that, hey, I am asking people to take on these responsibilities. I'm going directly to the leadership of the Divine Nine and asking them to take on these positions. And if they don't do it, if they ignore it, and it is to be reported to the community, and then the community hopefully will see that the saving of ourselves has to come from the bottom up.
Right.
Yes.
Well, I think it's going to have to come from the bottom up, because most of the Divine Nines don't like to do that kind of work. They mostly do social. They do community with the children. It's going to have to come. It's going to have to come from the bottom up.
Excuse me. That is how we functioned in the past. What Connie is saying and what I'm seeing, especially a lot of young people politically and in sports, they are not moving in that way.
Mm-hmm.
The Divine Nine has to move different. They cannot continue moving and doing these little
depends too much on the city and county funding. They ain't gonna do it.
But that's true. That's true of the Urban League. That is true of the. Back to Connie's point, that's true of the Urban League. That's true of the NAACP. So who will Connie approach and will actually take on doing the work, as she says, because they're all enslaved by money.
Yeah.
But let me also say the Darryl Shaws still get money and still push things for their way.
I know.
They still get money and still push things. If
a lot of it. And you don't have to fight.
And the other part we can think about is, like, right now I've just been elected as vice president of Tampa neighborhoods. You see when they show up. You see when the neighborhoods go to Than, and we have incredible team there with Stephanie and Mimi and Carol Ann, and they do the research and they send it out. And they get the neighborhoods to respond. They get the neighborhoods to send the emails. They get the neighborhoods to do the calls. And so that's enough for just Carol Ann, Stephanie, just maybe 4 or 5 of them to come in, because they have their email tree, and everyone that is impacted by that neighborhood, by the stormwater, they get 100 to 150 emails. Yeah. And so that way only. So, maybe we need to create an information tree too, to make sure that our community can say, I can't come there because it's 9 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I can't be there because you're 9 o'clock in the morning and you're going to bring up something from item number 61, and we're going to end up not speaking until 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right. Right. But look, I'm going to give us a little bit of grace. I think we're moving and organizing. These people have been doing it. We'll just really start doing this kind of work for our community. So I'm going to give us a little bit of grace. But I want to move on to...
let me just, on top of what you just said in terms of giving us grace, Than is looking at neighborhoods that are voters.
Yes.
They vote.
But they've been voting for a long time too, and we still knew it, the process all around.
And that's not true of East Tampa, Sulphur Springs, and what have you. So
and we're changing that.
Politicians look at that.
Yes. Hopefully we're changing that by each election, educating the people. These people have been doing it from the beginning of time, right? Fighting, understanding that, really until Orlando got in office, when I really start paying a lot of attention to city council, him telling us what to do, him introducing us to Than anyway, right?
Yes.
So
I'm going to give a shout out. I know you're trying to move us along, and that's your role tonight, and I love it. You're doing a great job. But I'm going to give a shout out to even Keela with Orlando. I didn't even really know Orlando, and I don't know that I voted for him the first time, but she brought a lot of us into what he was doing. She also was that community pressure that helped him focus on the real issues of the Black folks. So shout out to Keela, but also shout out to Orlando Goose for being responsive.
For
I think
absolutely
that is
open-minded, really standing in there with us. We had a few pushbacks. We did, but in the end, we used to have some fights, but in the end, it did work out. But the community,
we're supposed to have fights.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes. But the community, we could always let someone divide us. Someone decide this guy isn't for, and he was for the community. He had
Yeah.
the community at heart. But, things happen.
Yeah. I'm
And,
looking for I'm looking for I'm gonna let you run. I'm looking for my Malcolm X in the hospital scene. That's all I gotta say.
yeah.
Mhm. Yes.
So
Yes.
also City Council this year dealt with redevelopment in historic Black areas. I'm talking about Robles Park, Main Street, now that they're calling the West River. And while redevelopment has been framed as progress, but the Black community know
Progress for who? Progress
we
for
know
who?
from experience that progress without protection often leads, and it has led to a lot of displacement. And I hear certain Black representatives inside of the community say that when they move these people out, they don't want to move back in. And I said, well, maybe even if you have moved those people out, you telling me we don't have another group of Blacks to move back in? Because when we do that, we are diluting our voting block. We're doing a lot to harm ourselves when we think we are helping. And it's not, it is, when you look at Robles Park, and when you look at those apartments, I don't know the name of that street, but that used to own the those apartments, Jeanette, right
On
across from
Boulevard
is it Boulevard?
Street. Well, Tap used to own what apartments? Go ahead, keep
I
going.
think they used to own the apartments that sit right across from Riverfront Park.
Yeah, that road is Boulevard, and
Okay.
the apartments is Oakhurst.
Oakhurst. So
Mhm.
they've all of those was probably 90% Black, correct?
Mm-hmm. Keela's mom used to live over there
Okay.
before
So
she
I
passed.
want to know how is that going to look? Because when we did Central Park over, and when I go into Central Park, and when I go into most of those high rise, they're all whites.
Mm-hmm.
And it was hundreds and thousands of people over there, Black people. And that is gone. And the concern this year was rather affordability, legacy, residence, and long-term protection. Is that centered to the process, or is it secondary, Allison, to the development timeline? Particularly when you seeing what Darryl Shaw is doing, even with all the stuff he bought, all that stuff was Black. And when I went to his place, it's gorgeous. My daughter, and we went in there. It's beautiful. We were there for an hour and 30 minutes, and I didn't see one Black person walk. It was a Black lady helping us.
The
have to think that is diluting our voting block. And we saw that it is making our property taxes go up. People are losing. And we didn't have really people who really thought about this, who fight for the community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Gasworks project, its pro forma is not contingent upon getting incentives for affordable housing. It is a high end, and he does not mince words. He does not advocate. He will right now a minimum of about 300 to 400 units of the 7,000. Well, the first phase, which is going to be like 1,000, will be affordable. But he is a businessman in development. So understand. So you got to do that. My challenge is when you have like the CRAs and you have the community redevelopment plan that says to be able to build that community, but then you are funding outside and developers to come in here, not the developers who are from here, not the people who own the land. If you're not investing their tax dollars to in that, then you are just making sure, they being the CRA in my estimation, is they are making sure, because they made a presentation to the community about land that they own, and they're building $500,000 homes, the CRA. And I
Wow.
was told by staff, well, don't you think the community deserves $500,000 home? No, they
Oh,
deserve a home that they can afford.
Right.
it's like,
Yeah. Not
No.
with the CRA, because the CRA, if you build in a $500,000 home, you shouldn't have to help anybody get into that. Those people who can afford a $500,000 home could go out and get it the goddamn self. That doesn't make any sense.
yeah, it doesn't.
Exactly. But the leadership is not looking at development, is to help the folks who are there, to help grow those, to help make sure if you build there, that we create the jobs there, that we create apprenticeship programs, that we make sure that the folks are employed there, that the small businesses get the contracts. They give it lip service, but just like with Fair Oaks, the people come in and say, hey, we can only do 8%. And if you make us do more than 8%, I don't know what we can do. It's going to put the projects back. You're going to have to wait for it. And so it is never about, hey, it's our priority to use your tax dollars to make sure that you grow, and these property owners that are able to develop their own properties, to have young Black developers develop in our communities. No, they don't want to do that. They have shown it over and over, even by them not being able to have the grant programs ready. It took them 4 years to get them released. They were released in October and then put on hold again in October because we got to redo them. And here we are going into the new year, and they still don't have it. And that's the CRA's tax dollars.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's always something that pushes it down the line. That's why I'm fighting like heck to make sure that they do not sign that contract. They pay the city $5 million to manage the CRAs. 1.2 of that is for East Tampa. I have been saying that let East Tampa go. We only have 8 years. Let us develop. Let us get a independent non-city staff to develop, because you guys have proven over and over and over that your priority is not helping create jobs, not helping create long-term legacy, not to help not make sure that when that CRA develops, it's developed for the people who are there, not the people who are trying to buy up the land.
And it really has in 20
I'm
years
sorry.
eliminated blight.
Okay. Connie's going to say something.
Okay.
Go, Connie.
I was down in the downtown partnership channel side the other day. That was the first time I had actually been out my car and was walking and looking, and I'm like, oh my God, it's a city within a city. If they sick, they go urgent care. If they want to go to school, they go USL pharmacy something. If they want Publix that's selling alcohol, they go to New Publix right there. If they want to eat outside, if they want to buy furniture, they go to furniture store, not like rental center, but you go in there and order it off a catalog and all of that. It just struck me that yes, they come in with their dollars, but they have to be made to shape their spending power around the policies that's going to make Tampa a fair place for everybody.
Yeah.
The cheapest apartment, I'm just scrolling the names and looking. Some of the units was going for $7,000 a month. I'm like, oh my God.
That was a New York prices.
Down there.
Yes.
At the tower, $3,100 a month. So the issues of East Tampa never in these people's thought process. But what can stop developers like Darryl Shaw and Bennett and whomever is coming in to build these uprise is that these properties and this land has been maintained by the tax dollars of a collective city of Tampa citizens.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to make them do the right thing. If they cannot be made to do the right thing, then we should let them take their marbles.
Go.
Because what is happening now is that we do not have a city that, and this has been proven from city to city. People can't say that a workforce can live in a city that is being redeveloped because of all this outside investment. So hopefully, speaking the language to the people, that the people have to understand it, not from a policy driven way. That's Allison's job. But people like the rest of us have to go and beat the drums in the community to let them know, to let our community know. Your lack of participation is pushing your children and your children's children further outside of, we don't know where they're going to end up. And now it's the time to man up, the woman up, to get yourself organized so we can use our last vested power of voting so we can stop this continual onslaught.
To go back to what you said,
self-organize, it will happen.
and to go back to what you said at the very beginning, Jeanette, everyone is up for vote. We need to make sure that we are supporting candidates that support our community, who look like us, who are trying to build us, trying to build our youth, trying to help our youth, trying to make sure our seniors have the long and joyful life that they work so hard to invest. If we're not getting behind candidates, or even selecting candidates and then voting,
Right. That doesn't happen without, and I think Connie keeps going to the same point. It doesn't happen if we don't come together and put the pressure on, but we have to do it as a unit. And 2 or 3 people that people are not following doesn't scare anybody, doesn't pressure anybody to do anything, and they will continue with their agenda. And to the point you were making, I think earlier, Mona, even with that mural, perhaps there's a plan already in place for East Tampa that says we don't want no Black faces on a mural.
Absolutely.
We got other plans for East Tampa. Well, if that is the case, and we don't know, there is no group consolidated to really make that known, to do the research, make that known to the people, and then have everybody marching in the same, to begin pressuring the politicians to do right by Black folks. That's just one example, but it is, the times are such, and we can see it. And one of the reasons why 568 was canned so easily is because an executive order just came down to say, you know what, anybody anywhere in the country, you're going to be in trouble if you do anything for Black folks specifically. So we have to come together and put the pressure on, much the way that it was done for the Civil Rights Act to be passed.
Absolutely.
Can I say one thing?
White folks wanted to do something. Go ahead.
One or 2 people did make a difference, because when I found out Allison was not going to be considered for that charter review board, I didn't hesitate. Once Lynn Hertech says that it was going to be all white men on that board and we needed more women, I didn't hesitate. I went straight to Facebook. I started applying pressure. Now I can't say that pressure was enough to get people to lose their support of other people who they had supported previously and had voted for. But I was applying pressure saying, no, if you vote against Allison, you vote against us. Allison is on that board.
That was a good statement. That was good.
Yeah.
And look, and I'm thinking, and I know everybody's working. We're saying we're doing all this stuff, but we're gonna have to try to organize, maybe sending emails, phone calls, or just going down to city council. It used to be you could be there at 9 o'clock, you could be out of there by 10. Now you could be down there at 9 o'clock. You might not get to speak till at least 1 or 2 o'clock. And and hell, it's expensive to
parking
for parking alone, and so that's a problem. Let's go to the last issue that I heard. that was another major issue, was proposed to sell or either relocate the downtown police headquarters. And I can remember when I first heard that, and I said, oh, wow, that was strange to me, because when I go to most major cities, their police stations their headquarters are in the downtown area, because that is where, your whole civil oversight happens. City Hall is there. The courts and the public access points are there. What do you think? What do you guys think about this proposal?
Well, me, I'm always going to go back to policy and following the correct procedure. And that building is in the CRA. It should have gone to the CAC first for community discussion, and then to the CRA to say, yes, put it out for bid. When it didn't follow the policy, it makes me think that something is not right in the mix. That we're coming to the end of administration, and we want something sold for a significant amount of money. This one, when this one plays out, I think we're not going to be surprised. But there was a policy that should have been put in place.
Hold on, Allison. Hold on. Do you think we don't need headquarters to be downtown, or are they moving headquarters to Hannah Street?
No, they're not moving it to Hannah Street.
Well, where are they going to move it?
Where is it?
It's not going to be Hannah, because Hannah's not big enough, and that they don't have the ability to park the cars there. The challenge is that they do not have the money to even if with the sale of it, it's not enough to build where they're going to be. So I think this is a cart before the horse, because I think there should be a plan that this is where the new location is. This is how much it's going to cost. This is how it's going to be easy to get to or in and out of. But they have not had any of that conversation.
I'm sure they already got it all planned if they're trying to do it. But what's wrong with where they're at?
As far as I'm concerned, it's nothing. It keeps right in the center, in the heart of downtown. Public safety, police station. The right next to City Hall. They're not moving City Hall.
Well, don't be surprised if the new police station don't end up being where Oakhurst is presently located, because that property is sold. Don't be surprised if it end up being there.
Why do you say that? Why are you thinking that?
I have this.
She's been around long enough to see who's meeting with who in the hallway, who's talking with who in the hallway, and who's having lunch with who.
Somebody that bought that property. That property's been sold to somebody down in South Tampa. You try to research it. It's this, that, and the other. But I pay attention and I listen real closely. And I would not be surprised that within the next 2 to 3 years after this has been sold and divisions has been relocated somewhere, just to make sure that the police headquarters is somewhat functional, that we don't see it ended up being adjacent to everything that is being built from the University of Tampa all the way back. All that community is going to be gentrified. Black folks going to be pushed out of the entire almost city limits of Tampa. People within East Tampa and a few homes in West Tampa, if they don't hold on, they'll be gone too.
Yeah, that sounds like a very dire situation for us. And if we understand that, and if we see what's happening, the question is, what are we going to do? What are we doing about it? I just want to bring up Elvis's comment. We need to register new voters and stay in contact till it's election time. Good strategy. And make sure they vote. We need 2,500 more voters in East Tampa. I think he's right about that. Connie, as you talk about what the plan may be, and I think you got your finger on the pulse that we could believe that is a real possibility. we need to make sure that we have the power, the voting power. And right now, it doesn't look like we have it. But that's going to take a lot of work, as I think it's being suggested.
And
well, we
Elvis,
got
you know,
44,000 black voters, registered in East Tampa. Now, the thing is to get them activated. And one thing we know for sure,
That's
all
true.
white people ain't going to do the same. But if we could convince our people to vote in our best interest, not from the sound bite, but within our best interest, that means we got to have political engagement. That means we got to have boots on the ground. That means
Yes.
we got to have conversations. We got to be committed. I'm looking at this Charlie Kirk group, Turning Point, had all those young people. All of those young people just was at a conference. You know why? Because they know the world is being built for them. If
That's
we
right.
don't politically participate, then we can say
Okay.
doom and destruction is for us. And to go for our elderly to our newborn. We just got to get in a different mind space right now, head space. We got to be financially committed to the cause. We got to support people that we know that's on the front line. People on the front line got to get away from these petty grievances that don't mean shit to nobody.
yes.
These people is chopping up a budget every day. They're getting ready to lay out bonds that's going to keep future generations in debt. They talk about they need a forensic lab that's going to cost them $40 million. They need a new police station. They need new fire station. They need all of this stuff, and they could ignore what your plea has been. But one thing that has been powerful and centered around the civil rights movement, when Black people made a determination that they had something that they was willing to die for and to lose it all. They could go back to their places of sharecropping. People kicked them out. People burned, bombed, destroyed. We getting ready to go to Harry T. Moore, him and his wife on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, the whole bed exploded.
Yep.
Yeah.
The whole bed, the national, one of the organizers for the NAACP for the Florida region. We have to be committed. If not, people is letting us know that white nationalism, you're going to have to surrender to that. Now, I don't care how sophisticated you think you are, how smart and educated, what kind of degrees you got. You're going to be up under the thumbs of white nationalism because we have given up too easily.
That's true.
And all of these black voices that's in our way, we have to tell them once and for all that if it was working for Mr. Charlie, that don't work on us anymore. And once Mr. Charlie see that them black voices and them little Negroes don't work and they don't carry no weight no more because we're marching our people to greatness, into the self-determination, then we can get to the table. Being at the table right now, all they doing is entertaining us because they got us in the waiting room. We ain't making no real strong moves. We have not made the move because we have not had the spirit of resistance. The spirit of resistance don't necessarily mean that people got to shed blood. It might come to that, but that's not the way we move automatically. It means that economically we're going to be in control of our dollars. Our people is going to move with a different swag. I remember real clearly as a young person when I first heard James Brown saying, "Say it loud, I'm black and proud," that it meant something to our people. We weren't going to get in the James Brown band, but I know one thing, being African and being black was something that we looked up to. And so we have to move kind of now and in our people from our baby elders that people, that we are the architect of and the world coming to claim it.
Yep.
Alice, do you have anything you want to say to close us before we close out?
Well, I just want to
any advice for the community?
Before you do that, amen, 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 Connie, amen.
Amen, amen.
Yes, yes.
One move I am going to start the drum for is that they do the land use meetings at night. They
Okay.
have the people who get paid to come to city council to do land use at night. They get paid. Those are folks on staff. They need to move the land use meeting to the day, in the council meeting tonight after 5:30, so that people can come. I'm going to start a petition to make sure that at least one of those meetings, the land use,
I was
that can
going to
go
say
to
that
2:00 in the morning.
yes, at
We need
least
to have
one
that. We need to have
meeting.
city council meeting starts at 5:30.
Yeah, at least one meeting out the month should be in the evening.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
If I need to start a petition or
I
something,
used to say that about the PTA when my daughter was in school, and you having PTA meetings at 9:00 in the morning, and they say, "Oh, well, why aren't people coming?" Well, people got jobs, and if you
Right.
really wanted the
exactly.
people to be here, you would make it in the evening when they're picking up their children.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. We have got to have, because again, one of my urgencies, East Tampa, CRA goes away in 8 years. We only have 8 years
Yeah.
to be able to do something substantial. So we have
Yeah.
got to bam on every door, knock on every window, everything, so we can have substantial change that is us.
Right.
You know, we've got the incredible developer. You know, we've mentioned Keela. She is bound and determined to make sure that these property owners are bringing these businesses and these
And she
housing to our
got
folks.
3 excellent projects coming up. 3 excellent projects coming up.
She
And the
does.
change-
She's also connecting into. She's also connecting into some of the key developers, one of them being the Oakhurst owner. She says that he's being very careful on his redevelopment, and he has handled it very well. I know that she keeps an eye even on that, because of course that's where she grew up. So that's important to her. And Elvis does mention, out of the 44,000 Black voters that are registered, only 11% vote. So the metrics are there to give us a baseline from which we can work. And I truly believe that if we don't come together, even if a small group of us come together and we are talking, especially to the people who are sitting in those seats, and we are pressuring them as we are growing that 44K of registered voters who don't vote, we need to start showing the power is behind the small group that might pressure. MLK didn't have everybody with him.
Sure.
But he knew how to get in there and start pressuring. And then he used the media to make sure that folks saw those people being hosed and the dogs attacking them on the street. He made sure that the viewers saw that. And that's what helped him a lot to
Absolutely
push to move forward. And we have to be a little bit more strategic.
We're going to end up like West Tampa.
Yeah, we have to be strategic.
East Tampa, and I believe that is what they're holding out for. That is what they want.
Yeah. That's why you ended up with pickleball at the Fair Oaks, and that's not anything what the community asked for.
Right. Right.
Oh my God.
All right.
Really?
Well,
all right. So we are getting into a critical time. So I'm letting
Thank
you
know for having me. Thank you for this conversation. Thank you for your leadership. I will be back, and we will. And I know Miss Connie is already working on a plan for outreach. I know that she will be forward too. Miss Connie, you want they're wrapping up.
Thank you, sisters. I really appreciate the invite to share my concerns. I'm just saying, moving into 2026, I'm just praying for the Creator to grant us all just prosperity and health, increase our wisdom, our vision, remove fear, so we can be a mighty, mighty force that when we leave here, we have left a legacy of nothing but greatness and proudness in our people to show that our work was not in vain. So that's
Absolutely.
why I'm walking into 70 years old, just feeling like, hey, I got nothing but resiliency on my side because I'm determined to win.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Merry
Thank
Christmas.
you.
Jeanette, before we wrap it up, I want to do our ad, one of our sponsors, and let everyone know if you're still looking for last minute holiday stocking stuffer, consider this.
Then give a gift that's as sweet as it is meaningful. From the Seedful Kids After School Garden Program in Tampa comes local honey inspired by young gardeners and the gardens they grow. Our 3rd and 4th graders learn math, science, and teamwork while exploring nature. Favorites like chocolate honey, Madagascar vanilla bean, cinnamon, and orange blossom are among 24 unique blends that customers can't stop talking about. Each one raw, natural, and locally sourced. When you buy Seedful Kids honey, your purchase supports a local nonprofit organization that helps students. So this Christmas season, shop local and support young minds blossoming in our Tampa gardens. Order at www.cbexchange.org. The link will also be in our description.
Yeah, look, if you're going to dinner or to a holiday party this year, New Year's, and you don't know what to take a bottle of the specialty honey. Everybody is loving the ginger honey.
It's delicious. It's my favorite. But I am helping out, and I'm been delivering quite a bit of honey.
So we could call and ask for a delivery.
It's like I had to drive to Plant City the other day, and it was like Plant City. But
we could call and ask for a delivery.
You can actually once you go online and if you're local, it will be delivered, but if you're not, it will be mailed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I still haven't done it. I don't know why I'm such a last minute, and I'm generally not a last minute person, and I'm not really buying anybody anything, but I do want to give this honey to one of my girlfriends, and I'm going to get in big trouble for that because I have many, but I'm only buying one person. So, because actually, I know she loves honey, so I want her to try seed.
Yeah, my siblings will be here on Wednesday night, and each will be given a honey. There's jalapeno and ginger. I think I'm looking at those.
Jalapeno honey.
The jalapeno is really good.
Is it spicy?
They'll be getting it. Yeah. Well, it's not. It's like the sweet hot. So sometimes when you go get a meal and it's kind of sweet and hot at the same time, it balances itself out. It's not too hot, but you do notice there's jalapeno in this, but man, is that good. It's great for stir fry, but it's great on my finger. And I'm like, man, this is really good. So, so they're getting that. They don't know that yet unless they're looking at the show. But I love the honey actually. And I wasn't a honey person until this flavored honey. And I tell you, it's really delicious. So all 24 flavors. So y'all there's still time.
All right. Can you close us out?
Yeah. So guys, tonight wasn't really about tearing anyone down. It was about reviewing a record. And that record wasn't really just City Council and how they performed, but if you notice in the conversation, it was also about us as a community and how we perform. So City Council decisions really aren't abstract. They show up in public space, policing, redevelopment, and whether communities feel prioritized or postponed. As we move toward the next election cycle, it's appropriate to remember what actually happened before moving forward, as if everything deserves a reset. That's you, that's us, and it doesn't happen without every last one of us coming together. So progress deserves credit. Inconsistency deserves scrutiny. East Tampa deserves more than acknowledgement. it deserves results. And reviewing the year is how we make sure the next one looks a whole lot different. So,
love it.
yeah, this was a great conversation. Connie and Allison and Darryl, I'm so glad we got to hear from each one of them, because I've seen them whenever I tune in. It's like I've seen them expressing exactly how they feel about the various decisions that are being made. But the community needs to know they are there, because there's Robin Lockett, there's Keela, there's even Michelle Patty. They're all out there being a voice, agree or not, being a voice for the community. We need to tap into that.
We have to now try to move as a unit and not divisive and divided.
You felt like you had to say that just now?
Yeah, because it haven't gotten us anywhere when we're tearing each other down publicly.
Well, hopefully this allow the nature of this conversation really pointed to that as a group, we can apply pressure. If we're divided, that pressure is not there. And anybody who we're trying to press looks at us and pretty much laughs at us, because they know that we're not together. So
because all they got to go do is
without saying, although I understand why you are saying it.
Yeah. Because I always have believed that we could come together. It's the last thing that I believe we all did. We tried to come back together under Fair Oaks. And even that, somewhere, it just went south, okay? Because certain people need credit or validation. I don't think any of us need it if the whole community isn't being validated.
Yeah.
And it isn't. So I don't know how we can continue to fight like we fight. I want to come together. I want to see stuff prove in 2026. And frankly, I don't care who gets to say, I push this forward, because we know I can't do anything. It takes a whole team. It takes a body.
Yeah.
You know?
I would like to be able to say, yeah, you pushed that forward, but I'd like to say, I really gave you the support you needed.
Absolutely.
To make sure
that's what's needed. Support, the ability. When Connie says, I can remember when she first started trying to push 5, 6, 8, and she says, sister, because I hardly don't come to city council anymore, but she's like, I need everybody down there with these t-shirts on. So that particular Thursday, I said, okay, is it something she absolutely said she needed? So I had to do it, right? We got other people. I called my family and say, I need you guys to buy this
shirt. You didn't call me, but you know what? I'm gonna interrupt you because it's 7:58. I don't think so, but it's 7:58, and I gotta cut us off. We gotta say goodbye.
That's there in 2 minutes. 2 hours. Yes.
Say goodbye, Mona.
Good night, everyone. Enjoy yourself. We will be back here on Tuesday instead of Wednesday. And we have a very good show lined up. Santa Claus will be visiting. Santa Claus will be coming to the Black Independent podcast.
All right. So bye-bye, everyone.
Good night.